documents, the state will make the decisions for you. Plan for your family's future now. Protect your assets and ensure that your wishes are memorialized in writing. Call attorney Patrick Smith. Patrick has been in practice for 15 years, helping people with estate planning and providing peace of mind. He can help with wills, power of attorney, and trusts. Call Patrick Smith at 877-754-6764 or email him at patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com.
I believe I want to see all the so but should I never but should I never even so now that
Welcome back, listeners. This is Greg Kelly of the Prosperity Group, and we are talking about volatility. You know, all I want for Christmas is less volatility. Patty, you know, in our entire lives, less volatility seems very attractive, don't you think?
it's funny what you used to wish for it when we were younger. It is very telling. But yes, less volatility would be fabulous. The older I get, the more I like consistency. The volatile aspect of the market is not attractive whatsoever, especially at this point in my life.
Right, because if you've got money in the market and you're 62 years old or 63 like myself, you know, that money, you don't want it to go south. You don't want it to go backwards at all.
Well,
And you don't want it to go up and down.
even if you're in your 50s, if you're in your 50s,
How you doing?
you don't want to
Doing
be where
good,
you
buddy,
are. I
but,
mean, and say you want to retire in
How are
10
you,
years.
how are you
You don't
using,
want it
how
to
are you
go
getting
down and
into
then only
Zoom?
to
Are
give
you
it 10
using a
years to get back to
computer
where
or
you
what?
are when you were in your 50s.
Yeah, but Patty,
Okay,
have
do
we
you
not
see
been
your
told,
screen on,
haven't
can you
we
see the
been
video
told
on the
that,
computer?
oh, the market will come back here in your
I
50s,
saw a slide I saw in New York there for a
It's
while.
crazy.
I'm not in the
I know.
studio at the moment.
You
Want to
will
get back in
recoup
there?
it if you're
When you get
happy
back
at
in,
being
call
at the
me
same
because
point you are
you're
10 years
you're coming
later
up again,
with
so I'm
the
gonna have
cost
to
of
teach you how
living
to turn off
not the same
your
as it was
camera.
10 years previously.
Patty, I want to
Wait a
remind
minute.
our
Wow,
listeners, it
I
took
don't even have a
5 years
camera
for
on that
people to
screen.
make up the loss that they had in
You have your name
2008.
though,
It took till
so it's coming out
2013
across as your name.
if they hung in there.
Exactly.
And I know a lot of people who didn't, who now some
I
of
don't
them
know where it's
joined
coming
our
from.
team
Well,
in
I,
It's
Smith
not.
Money Strategies, and
or
they're
when you
ahead.
get
What
back,
do you
They're
see?
actually ahead of the
I'm
so
market.
back in
And
there
the
now.
yeah,
reason is
I'm
because
Ken Zaire.
they don't have to participate in the losses. So
And
that's
that's what you're seeing. You're
crucial,
seeing
you
that
know?
name.
I'm
It
That's
is
seeing that
crucial. It's
name
also important to know
on
that the market was not designed
Zoom.
for
I mean
the
on
retirement funds originally.
YouTube
Yeah, but
and
wait a second. Didn't
Facebook
President
and
Bush tell us
Restream.
that the 401k
Right.
was like the greatest invention we've ever seen in America?
But
And
you
it's
have
going
to
to make all the
People go on
Americans
there.
prosperous. And then
you. There's
I
only
think
you and me on
he
there, and
left
so you have to
office
turn
right.
off your camera
Was
because
it
it's
right
switching back and
when
forth
the market
between you and
crashed?
me.
Shortly after the market crashed.
As
So,
they say, timing is
when you-
everything, is
Switching
it
back
not?
and
Timing
forth.
is
Okay,
everything.
that's
But, you know,
that is a
it's so
sound
true.
thing. That is a
And,
sound cue.
but folks,
no,
you
it's
don't have to worry about
Usually
market
when the
timing.
No, you
okay.
do
Let
not.
I
me.
can show a
Hey, look.
25-year-old, a
You see your picture
30-year-old,
there? You
how they can
see
create
my
more
picture or
wealth
whatever?
Oh, wow.
with a safe
You
money
see?
tax-free
Are you looking
strategy
at your screen?
than they actually can.
I am. I got a picture
In
of
the
New York
market.
and I see myself
And
up on
tax-free
top.
is the key phrase
Right.
on that
Okay.
one.
So now go
Tax-free.
down to the
Now,
bottom and you'll see a
Let
toolbar
me
down there.
quantify what I
Right.
just said.
Okay. You see
If you
stop
happen to
video.
find the next Microsoft or the next
Well, mine
Tesla,
says start video.
yeah,
I've
that
got it
you
off.
might win
I'll turn
there.
it on
But
now,
you know,
but nothing will
how
happen
many of
because
us
I
have
don't have
found
the
the next
camera.
Microsoft and the next
Doesn't
Tesla?
matter.
And who
Let me
knew
see
on
what
the
you
first
got.
day they
Turn
put
it
money
on and
into
then turn it
Microsoft
off.
that it was the Microsoft?
Okay. Now,
Exactly.
now turn it off.
You know, if we knew that, then there were we
It's
would,
actually
we
not
would
doing
all
anything.
be
It's
doing
not allowing me to
No,
turn it
that's
off.
so true. Hey, Jessica and
not?
Adam, thanks for
It's
joining
not allowing me
us.
to turn it back on, actually.
Folks,
because
I see
it says
people on
I got a
Facebook that
prompt
are
that says
seeing us. Share us
Zoom
with
is unable to
friends
detect
and
a camera because
send
there's
us
no
likes
camera on
and
this
everything
video
on
screen on my
Facebook. I
screen that I'm looking
appreciate
at.
that.
That's what they usually
Stay
look
tuned. We're
for,
also going to be
that
on
camera.
YouTube. We are on
Unless you plug
YouTube.
one in from the
And we're going to be doing
outside.
some updated videos, and I'm going to have a new announcement in the Greenville area,
So
potentially of a
I
new
don't
station
know.
that we're going to be on. So I'm
I know
excited
Zoom
about
puts
that,
everybody's name on
and
top who's in the
looking
meeting
forward
usually.
to reconnecting
Yeah,
with
but
many of
That's
the
always
people that
there.
listen
But I
to
don't know
us
how to get rid of
on
it.
a regular
yeah,
basis
but
for the
you're
last
coming
5
in and
years.
out. So,
Patty,
well,
you know, volatility is not fun.
Yeah, say it like this.
And
I'm
let
gonna have
me
to come
let me
over
kind
there
of
and
equate
play
a
with
word with
it a little bit.
volatility. I believe volatility
Uh,
equals uncertainty.
How's it look?
Absolutely.
And who wants uncertainty in life? Who wants uncertainty in
you.
the market? And
It's
Patty, I believe there's a real estate, a commercial real estate
now I got a
correction
little face is talking over
the
here
quarter.
on the
We've
right
even
hand
been
side.
told that by a
Says what?
high-ranking
It says
person that
talking. Every
works
time you
for the
talk and I
government,
talk, it
that
changes.
there's a
It goes from me
commercial
to you.
crash based on what they're seeing that's probably looming on the horizon. And
I don't want
it's
to talk
going to
anything. I
affect
don't
the
want to take anything
residential
off that's
market
going
as
to
well.
interfere with our audio.
No, you don't
Greenville
want to
was
do that.
insulated.
So I'm a
Part of
little
Florida was
leery about
insulated.
what I'm doing here because I don't
It's going
know
to be
that.
interesting
I
to
don't
see
know
what
Zoom that well. The only
happens
time I use it
because
is during staff
part
meetings.
of the
and,
problem right
doing the
now.
show.
Oh, I was listening to a show yesterday,
Uh,
and there's a
that's- I
company
don't
that
know what to tell you.
name. I'll leave nameless, but they have the colors black in it. Okay,
I'm
and they
gonna
are
have to
buying
figure
up
it out.
all this property. And
Thing
you
is,
know
I'm
what they're
not doing
doing,
anything
folks? They're
different than I've
buying up
always
these
done.
subdivisions so people can be
I haven't
renters.
changed anything. I haven't touched anything on Zoom.
So they're buying all of this stuff.
Since we started
They're
using
buying it
Zoom.
at a premium
So
over
I'm not
in
sure
what the
what
average
is going
person
on.
can get.
I don't do anything
And
different
so
on Zoom,
as a
especially. I just
result,
connect to
as a
your prompt,
result,
that's it.
it goes with what we
Yeah,
heard a couple
I'll
of
try to
people
figure it out.
say,
I don't
that
know
you
what's
will
going
own
on.
nothing and love it.
Yeah, I don't know either.
That's the goal.
Something
That's the
is weird.
goal. Own nothing. Because that way you have a big conglomerate that
Did you
owns
hear the
everything.
music last week, by the
And
way?
can you imagine, Patty, that there's a
No,
day
I mean,
that
You
if
didn't
you
hear the
state
music
your
last week.
opinion
How
about
is that
something,
possible?
they'll
I didn't
disenfranchise you and
hear
kick
it.
you out of the
You can
community?
hear the
Well, I
weather
mean, in a way,
and
Yeah,
all that stuff,
yeah,
golly, can I even say this?
but you can't
The
hear the
fact that
music.
I even said that.
no,
In a way,
That was weird because
that's
the
true
music
with
is
the
on a cart
airwaves.
that is in our
Well,
You're
computer
not
system
kicked
that
out of
stays
a
after
physical
the weather. There's
community,
absolutely no
but you
reason
could be kicked
why
out
you
of
shouldn't be able to hear
a
that unless there's some kind
communicative
of phasing problem out
community.
there.
well,
Kind of canceling it
Patty,
out.
who is known
no.
as the prince of the
We're getting
power
rid
of
of this
the
whole
air?
system.
Well,
We're
yes.
right in the middle of
So
it. We're
the
right at the beginning
airways
stages of
are,
it, actually,
again,
of what we
very
do in our
volatile.
entire studios.
I always said if they censored a
And
president, what
hopefully
would
the
they
new
do
system will be a
to
lot less
the average
complicated.
American?
Absolutely. And I guess if I am
But
being
I don't know
censored, if
why.
I'm
I
being
do not
kicked
know
out
why.
of
I
the
don't think anybody
airwave
else really knows
community,
why.
then I am happy with that
Oh.
because it means I'm with the right team.
All right, well, I'm sorry, Doc, but
That's
I
a good
just don't know
point.
what to do.
That's
Yeah.
a good point.
So, and we know who
Oh, well.
wins that battle. So
I wish I
So
could do something, but
how
I
is
just
it,
can't. I just don't know it. I could
you know, how
see
is
if I
it
can
we
figure it
can
out in
get
Zoom
our
on the
people
on Google or something. Find some
to
advice.
do the right thing right now?
Yeah,
What
I've been
can they
looking and
do
I
to
can't
give
figure it out.
themselves
Yeah,
a solution for retirement? I believe we offer several
sure.
solutions.
I bet there's an
We've got
office person
solutions
here
for
who
younger
knows.
folks. We've got
I'm asking the
solutions
wrong
for
people. I'm asking
older
the people
folks.
who aren't using it.
The
you know.
difference with our
I need to
strategy
talk to
is
salespeople and
it's not
people
going to
like
be
that who use it all
volatile in
the
the
time.
money in the market. So
Right.
it's in our safe money
I wake up in the
strategies. And
morning,
folks, you can reach
Right.
us at
I'm not gonna be
1-800-440-0434. Go to mymoneyissafe.com. I want to just point out one thing.
Yeah, it's weird.
Folks, we have
I don't know
accounts
why you're
right
seeing
now
it. You didn't used to.
that you
It's always
can
been
make.
there. I've
Listen to what
always
I'm
seen that up
telling you.
there.
You can actually
But
make
you
a
didn't
20,
before.
almost a 20%
Until I turned my
return
camera
in
off
13 months.
and I saw it. So if I turn my
Almost a
camera on
20% return.
and I see
So
it,
those of you who are jumping into those 5-month CDs, go for it. And by the way, with that 20% return, you don't pay taxes on it unless you take money out. So I'm laying it out on the line because nobody's talking about it. They're afraid of it. But let me tell you why, Patty. We make our living, right? We prosper by helping people prosper. We get paid.
it is not a charity. That is correct.
So
Right,
if people come to see us, they know that if they do business with
same
us,
thing.
they're going to get
Safety is
paid.
still up
And
in
on
the front,
IRAs, we're
top.
fiduciary. So we'll disclose that
Let
to
me see.
folks. So folks, this is not a gimmick. And you got a lot of people. There was another talk show guy who's a little bit more on the security side, and he would badmouth. I know where it was directed to, and they say You know, when your competition
Flattery.
pays attention to you, it's the ultimate flattery. So I don't take,
Oh,
you know, issue with that.
It's not
Tyler,
there.
how you doing, my friend?
Oh.
Call me after the
Okay,
first
I
of the
moved
year,
it.
and I
I
need
can-
a
I found out I can drag it
t-shirt,
other
by the
places.
way. Folks,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to tell you this. I hope it doesn't
So I
alienate
put it down
listeners.
by the.
I am a
bottom of
Miami
the
Dolphins
bar.
fan.
Okay,
A Miami
yeah.
Dolphins
Put it
fan
out
on
of
the
way,
pro
but
side. So
we'll see if it'll
just
stop
saying.
everything.
So
No,
here's the
as
thing,
far as I
folks.
know, it's gonna
You
switch
can
every
add
time
all this
one of
money
us
into your
talks.
account
There's a
immediately.
setting
It's
somewhere
huge.
that
And
stops it,
it's
but I haven't
really
been able to
important
find
to
it
do
anywhere.
that.
It is huge. And
Crap.
we're having
Yeah, I know. I can't.
younger clientele reach out to us because they're learning that the market isn't 100% the way to go. And
Okay.
they realize that, okay, I'm in my 40s. That doesn't mean that I want to jeopardize my entire future.
That's right. That's right.
And they're being smart because they realize that the time value of money is crucial. And the more that they can hedge their investments, and I use the word investments and I say it like that because for monies to be considered an investment, you have to have the capability of losing said money,
That's right.
which in our world, we cannot say that we're investing your money because you can't lose it.
That's right.
But the one word we can use that our broker friends cannot use is the word guarantee.
That's right. That's right. We're talking guaranteed accounts.
Exactly.
We've got accounts that you can get a guaranteed 6% for 5 years, folks. Guaranteed 6% for 5 years.
We have accounts that we can guarantee you lifetime income.
In lifetime income, what we call pension-like income or an inflation-friendly increasing income right now. The account that we're talking about right now, that's 20% added to your retirement account, just under 20% in 13 months. That's a big number, all without market risk, folks. All without market risk. But again, folks, look up FDIC and see how much security is behind, how much money he's backing. It's called a bank insurance fund that's backing that $250,000 CD. So it's important to understand how these accounts work. It really is very important. So folks, we're almost out of time this segment. On Facebook, if you have questions you want to ask, you got comments, go ahead and put that on there. Tom, I'm not sure what you were saying when you said, who is it? And then you asked a couple of questions. So just clarify that question for me and I'll answer it. Adam and Jessica, thanks for joining us. Tyler, we need to talk. I hope you are doing well. And I guess you guys had a fun game watching the Jets get pummeled by the Dolphins. So sorry to you New Yorkers over there, you know?
Yeah, well, poor Jets. They've had a tough
Oh.
season.
Yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers is having second thoughts. Maybe what the Jets need to do is trade Aaron away and pick up 2 or 3 people in his place. You know, he can still compete. He's pretty amazing.
I mean, what do we think? I mean, what did he play? Like maybe 3 minutes?
Oh yeah, yeah. That was it. That's so crazy.
So we shall see.
So folks, stay tuned as we continue and we'll be right back. Attention retirees, has the volatility sickened you to your stomach? Are you tired of watching your accounts go up and then go down and you're not sure where it's going to go? Look, there are ways you can establish stability and protection to your accounts. Learn how right now you can get close to a 20% return in 13 months and not have to pay taxes unless you draw money out. Call us at 800-440-0434 or go to mymoneyissafe.com.
AM 860, The Answer. Listen on our website, theanswertampa.com, 93.7 FM, W229DJ Dunedin, by downloading the Answer Tampa app or on TuneIn or Odyssey. Here's the latest from the Answer News Center.
With SRN News, I'm Michael Harrington in Washington. It's already 2024 in some places around the globe. Auckland, New Zealand, the first major city to ring in the new year. It will continue to be rung in all throughout today. Americans, of course, will do it this evening. Consulting firm McKinsey & Company has agreed to pay $78 million to settle claims from insurers and healthcare funds that its marketing work with Purdue Pharma helped fuel an opioid addiction crisis. The agreement revealed in documents filed in federal court in San Francisco. The top commander of U.S. naval forces in the Middle East says Yemen's Houthi rebels are showing no signs of ending their reckless attacks on commercial ships in the Red Sea. Vice Admiral Brad Cooper says more nations are joining the International Maritime Mission to protect vessels in that vital waterway. This is SRN News.
Because no matter what, no matter where, you need the truth. And specifically, if you're listening from Newport Richey to St. Petersburg or from Tampa to the coast, you can get the answer on FM 93.7, always on AM 860, online at theanswertampa.com, and depending on where you are, on FM 93.7. The latest from AccuWeather at the top and bottom of the hour, only on AM 860, The Answer.
We'll have plenty of sunshine today with a high of 69, then clear to partly cloudy skies tonight with a low of 51. Dry, cold weather for our New Year's Eve activities. Pleasant day tomorrow, sunshine mixing with some clouds. High for our New Year's Monday, 71. Then partly cloudy with a shower in places tomorrow night, low 53. That's your AccuWeather forecast. I'm Holly Holdren for AM 860, The Answer.
It's not me, it's just different how. Sometimes you're my preference how. It's for real, no faking it. You told me I'm your second.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. The song that you heard is a song that was written by my daughter, Annie Ellie. It's called Second Favorite. She is a singer-songwriter. You can go look at her music and see Annie Ellie at SoundCloud, and that's ANNIE, last name ELIE at SoundCloud. You can listen, you can purchase her music. I'm not sure if she's got her website updated. We're working on that for her. She's quite a prolific songwriter. And so, you know, Patty, we're talking about volatility. How do our clients prosper? What's the way that our clients prosper compared to, you know, other folks in the market? I mean, in the market, do you ever really own your gains?
Interesting.
Unless you cash them out, you don't own it, right?
If you're in the market, then you don't own them. If you're out of the market, then you own them if you're not in the market. So it's a catch-22. So the answer to that would be no.
Right. And don't you like when people say it's only a paper loss?
Yeah.
That's right. You know what I say? It's called green paper. Well,
then
if we still have green paper.
Then the flip of that would be it's only a paper.
Good. Very good.
You know?
Hey, Joe, thanks for joining us, my friend. I hope you're doing well. I know we need to get together and talk, so I look forward to hearing from you. So folks on the radio, I am talking live to people on Facebook, and you can go to Prosperity Group at Facebook and watch previous shows. You can also go to our website, go to mymoneyissafe.com. We do YouTube videos, so I've done some YouTube videos to talk about some of our safe money strategies. We're expanding that reach. And folks, stay tuned. The Prosperity Group is going to be on a podcast. So you're going to be also seeing us on a podcast. So really looking forward to things, folks. So Patty, you're right. It's not a real gain until you cash in the gain.
Exactly.
I mean, we've seen, I'm thinking of the lock-in feature. We've got some of our clients that we've been locking in rates of say 3 or 4%, but they're getting 2.5 times that on what I call protected lifetime income portion. So that means they're going to get 8 or 9% on their accounts. Folks, can you live with an 8 or 9% return? I mean, that's a question. But what did John D. Rockefeller said? They asked him how much money was enough, and he said just a little bit more.
Yeah.
So that's human nature, folks. That's human nature. So, I mean, this is great opportunities. Our clients are able to lock in the gains.
We have some clients that today they were able to lock in high 4s and 5s.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
So that's going to be what, 12.5%?
Between 12.5% return.
Right. Not too shabby.
So folks, this is the opportunity that exists to take advantage of this. And right now, most of the experts are saying that they predict that 2024, the S&P is going to be down 10%, given what's going on. And believe me, the government's doing as much manipulation as they can. Let me warn folks what a telltale sign is. When gold goes inverse to the market, that's when you know something is up. And when Bitcoin goes inverse to the market, same thing. Because what's happened by the way they calculate these things, Bitcoin is going in line with the market right now, and it wasn't initially. And that seems to make people happy. Same thing with gold. So I'll give you an example of what I'm saying. Bitcoin went up during COVID when we had the big COVID drop. So did gold. Interesting. Interesting. But you look at the manipulation right now. And folks, there's going to be a big opportunity in silver. So prepare for that. So how do you own it, folks? You own it physically, and then there's some strategies that you can do to make more profit on it. In fact, I've got a friend of mine watching the show that I'm going to talk to about some strategies that he's implemented in his practice. And he was a financial advisor with our firm out of Kentucky. So Joe, we're going to be talking soon, my friend. Tell Candace I hope she's doing well. So folks, Patty,
Sorry, but you know,
when I think of the returns that our clients can make in a safe money strategy right now, guaranteed 6% for 5 years. And here's the difference. Those people that jump into the CD to get that, they're not netting that return because they're paying tax on the money.
They are paying tax on that money. And also, like you said, where is that money that they're earning that?
Where what?
Where is the money that is in a CD? Where is that
Right.
money?
Well, it's in a bank.
There we go.
It's in a bank.
Therein lies, another part of the problem, or a concern, we should say.
Well, look, right now, folks, I think there is, and this sounds very controversial, but I think there's a lot of risk with many banks right now. There's a lot of risk with many banks. Saying hello to Billy, who's watching. I hope, Billy, you're doing well and you're ready for Christmas. So that's today's show. All I want from Christmas is less volatility. Actually,
Yeah.
I know some clients, they're going to want their 2 front teeth because if the bottom falls out of the market, they may lose a couple of teeth. But
That's the truth.
that's another show.
That is another show. And you mentioned something on one of the other shows that was true as far as money in the bank, etc. And the FDIC, the timing of increased interest rates and higher CDs. It's awfully interesting in relation to our currency.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I had not thought about that angle until you said that a couple of shows ago, and I thought, wow.
Yeah. I'm going to predict this. And folks, as a Catholic, a previous Catholic, I still am okay with Catholicism, but I do believe in Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. But
I have unmuted.
There's going to be a divide in the church. I've been talking about this for years. I said it was going to probably happen this year. It is. So folks, stay tuned. Go to 1-800-440-0434. Go to mymoneyissafe.com.
Told me I'm your second favorite.
Folks, I'm doing this show and we talk about retirement. We talk about all of these things. Another financial advisor sent me a message that the VIX is at the same level, which is called the volatility index. And it's at the same level as it was in February of 2020 when the market tanked. Interesting. Folks, if you want to learn how you can add nearly 20% into your account in the first 13 months, call us at 800-440-0434. Go to mymoneyissafe.com.
Hey, it's Tim Cooper with Health Plan Network. The open enrollment for the 2024 Affordable Care Act Marketplace plans is ongoing now. The new plans have even higher deductibles and even higher monthly premiums. Folks, there is another option. My Freedom of Choice plan puts most of your coverage right up front, where you only meet a deductible if you go into a hospital. You can pick your doctors, and it's 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. The monthly premiums are independent of your income, so there's no surprise tax bills. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call me, Tim Cooper, at 813-212-2580, 813-212-2580, or go to healthplannetwork.net. That's healthplannetwork.net, and we can custom design a plan that's managed by you, not the government.
Didn't get to bed last night. On the way to paperback was on my knee. Man, I had a dreadful flight.
Are you there, Doc?
In the USSR.
Welcome back, folks. And the song that you heard played was Back in the USSR. Now, you know, when Billy Joel went to Russia, he didn't know what to expect. When I say Russia, he went to the USSR, Soviet Union. And what he said, I watched a video about Billy Joel, and he said what was amazing about the Russian people. He said they weren't that different than we are. No, because people are virtually the same. In fact, I talked about a book called The Imitation of Christ by Thomas A. Kempis. And he's talking to society in the 16th, 17th century. And it sounds like he's talking to people today. Human nature on its own has not changed. And the reason I played Back in the USSR, we are seeing things gravitate to a form of Marxism, folks. This left and right garbage is not about left and right. It's about freedom and Marxism, folks. Okay? I could do a whole show on that. In fact, I've been asked by several people to start doing a separate podcast to talk about these subjects that I'm passionate about, you know, and so it's important to do that. And so what you've got to realize, folks, is that we are seeing society change at such an accelerated rate that the freedoms that we enjoy may not be around like we expect them to be. Folks, all you got to do is go to a restaurant since COVID. They don't clear your table. It's so annoying to me. What I'm going to start doing when I go to a restaurant where they don't clear it, I'm going to pick it up and I'm just going to put it in the table next to me. Don't get the hint. I mean, it's just ridiculous, folks. It's completely ridiculous. I want to say hello to Candace.
Are you there yet,
Joe,
Doc?
I hope you are doing well. Hope to get together with you guys sometime soon. I hope it's not too cold in Kentucky right now. It's too cold for me in Greenville. Golly. I was in Florida. It was 80 degrees. I was at the beach and 80 degrees, and I was at the beach right now, or, 2 weeks ago. And so look, here's my theory, folks. If you can't have a white Christmas, go to the beach.
Is that have a sandy Christmas?
A sandy Christmas. That's so true. But folks, we are talking about life as we know it. And so the volatility, the digital dollar that's on the way, folks, we have been already operating under a digital dollar for years. They don't transfer $2 million from the bank. In fact, I challenge you right now, if you need to make a big cash withdrawal at the bank, I challenge you right now to see if you can walk away with all that cash that you want to withdraw. Okay? And folks, I keep warning people to be careful of cash right now. Now, I want to speak to the listeners, and I'm going to tell you this. I want to remind listeners of this. If you are changing jobs, don't roll your old 401k into the new 401k. Talk to us before you do that. You should go ahead and move that into an IRA that you self-direct. Okay? Secondly, if you are 59 and a half, and I'm shocked about I'm shocked how many people come and see us and have not taken advantage of that. In other words, of what I call the in-service rollover. Actually, it's not my phrase. It's called an in-service rollover, which means at 59 and a half, you can move it to a self-directed IRA. Now, why would I do that, folks? Let me give you an example.
Are you there yet, Doc?
Patty, if I got $400,000 in a 401k and I don't take advantage of the in-service rollover, I'm now 60 years old, and that 401k loses 40%. I only got 240,000 left. But if I take advantage of the 401k in-service rollover, bring it over to us, we can add 45% to that account. 45%. Let's do the math on $400,000. That's about $180,000, right?
That's not a bad game.
That's that we just dumped into your account for moving it right now. That's why it's important. Folks, I've been on the radio for 10 years, 11 years. Patty's been graciously on the radio, putting up with me and my electronic shortcomings. And she has a securities background, a banking background. She's seen it firsthand. She's my right-hand man, right-hand woman. Woman. And she does a terrific job for our firm. And so Patty's role is crucial. She's done a phenomenal job with me. She's extremely loyal. But what I admire most about working with Patty is that she is honest and does what's in the best interest of the client. She does that all the time. We have conversations about it. If we think we made a mistake in our assessment, we'll go back to the client and say, hey, we just did it recently. We looked at a situation. We told the client, you know what, we were going to move it into this account, but this makes more sense. And you always take a risk of people saying, well, they're not competent. They didn't get it perfect. But things change because of the volatility right now. Folks, insurance companies are responding to the feds at a rate that I've never seen. I have told you that these safe money strategies where you can add a tremendous amount of money into your accounts are not going to be around for good. So folks, if you want to take advantage, and Tom, we need to look at your account. I mentioned that to you. So make sure that you reach out to me and we'll talk. We can handle that for you. So that's very, very important that we take advantage of some of these strategies. That's going to put money in your pocket, folks. This is about putting money in your pocket and keeping it in your pocket, okay? And we can do it for young and old alike. Young and old alike. Patty, we got about 5 minutes before the end of this show that's gonna play in Christmas and it's gonna play in New Year. And so, folks, when you hear us again, I
guess you could say we're not going to talk to them again till next year.
Till next year. That's right. We will not talk to you until next year. Not 12 months, but
exactly.
in about 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Yeah, Tom, I did, but I'm going to review your account today. I'm talking to someone as we're talking in our radio show. So, folks, when you hear me going off, I'm not chasing a squirrel. I'm just talking to somebody who's interacting with us at on Facebook. And folks that know me, I don't chase squirrels. I run over squirrels. Patty, I went for a week and I was with my son. We were going to tennis tournaments. And I think it's something with my car was causing squirrels to attack my car.
It's that electric.
No, this was before. This was a
was
gas
before?
car. And I think I ran over 12 squirrels in a
Oh, dear
1 week period. Yeah, and my son, who was 8 years old, he was horrified. He's
Yes.
Dad, you're a killer of squirrels. What do you do? I'm like, I didn't do anything. I'm just driving, and they were going under my
Oh.
car. So yeah, sorry for that. I just chased a squirrel and talking about the squirrels. But
Okay,
anyway.
no, you can edit that part out.
Yeah. Now we'll just let it go. Folks on Facebook, thank you again for tuning in. I just pray God's blessing on you all for a Merry Christmas. Share our Facebook post. Go to YouTube. Listen to some of the videos that we've done. Send us a like. I just want to thank you all for joining us, and stay tuned for some of our ministry posts that we're going to be doing. I'm excited about a meeting that we're going to be doing, and I'm telling this to people on Facebook in the Greenville area that I am praying is going to be a catalyst to a revival here in Greenville. I really am. Jerry, we reached out to you. Please call me if you need to. Call the office, 864-989-0176. I want to make sure your question got answered, and I think there's a way to potentially help your accounts. So give us a call, folks. I can't wait to talk to you. And
Morning, Doc.
folks, listen, I hope you have a great year for 2024.
You're kind of breaking up
We
on me.
need Jesus more in 2024. That's my motto. We need Jesus more in 2024.
I like that.
And so we always come up with these year-end or year-beginning mottos, and so that's really important. You know, it really is important, folks. We want to help with all of this. It's crucial. So, folks, it's you want to take your accounts, you want to get rid of the volatility, you want to protect your accounts in ways.
Turn your music off.
Yeah, and unmute yourself. I muted you by accident.
All right, you're sounding good. How am I sounding?
You sound good. How do I sound?
You look good to me. I see what you're looking. I looked at Facebook, and I don't know what that is. I don't know what the heck's going on there.
I just don't know. I don't know if it's Zoom or if it's Restream. And Restream, I was trying to figure out what she wanted me to do. And she said there's some little blue thing next to participants. But I sure don't see it. I don't see what
It's tough to fix anything on the fly like that.
Yeah, we should have started earlier. Or I'm going to have to really research this and see what's going on. Oh,
How are you
well.
doing otherwise?
Just flustered, but I'll be okay. We'll get there, buddy boy.
Plastered? You started celebrating already?
I think I'm going to wait until after 3 because I've got to run by the hospital and do a few little pieces of paperwork.
Oh, yeah. You don't want alcohol in your breath talking to patients.
No, you don't want that. Oh, well, that's
All
life.
right. I'll send you some audio and I'll catch you after the weather.
Okay.
As MC Hammer said, he said, you need to pray, you need to pray, you need to pray just to make it through the day.
And we do.
Yeah, we do. We do. So, folks, we've got just a couple of minutes left, I think. And I appreciate you tuning in. And I pray that you have a happy, happy new year. Thank you again. I'm talking to our producer. I'm talking to Facebook. The only person I haven't talked to is my little dog, Macy, right now, who she will smile. And I'll post pictures of Macy smiling.
She's pressed.
Folks, God bless you. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. We'll see you next year. Patty, thank you. God bless you. Thanks so much for being with me on this show. Bye-bye. Folks. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. I want to wish everybody a Merry, Merry Christmas, folks. I really do. Jesus Christ is the reason for the season. Remember that. And I also want to wish you a prosperous new year, New Year's. And so we look forward to helping you in the Prosperity Group. God bless you. Have a wonderful new year. And I hope 2024 is a year of opportunity for our Lord Jesus. God bless you. Have a happy new year.
Tampa Bay's only conservative station. 60, The Answer, WGUL. You need to download the Answer Tampa app or listen online at theanswertampa.com. Tune in at Odyssey.
Wisconsin and LSU in the Reliant Quest Bowl. New Year's Day in Raymond James Stadium. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com.
With SRN News, I'm Michael Harrington in Washington. As 2024 is about to dawn, the CEO of One American nonprofit group warns that the remainder of the 21st century depends on Israel's victory over Hamas terrorists. Rabbi Stephen Weil, who heads the organization Friends of the Israel Defense Forces, tells the Jerusalem news site allisrael.com that his group recently flew two 757 jetliners to Israel, carrying $10 million worth of supplies for IDF troops in the battlefield. He says if Israel ever falls, the consequences for the rest of the world are frightening.
To quote the Supreme Ayatollah, their ultimate goal is the Great Satan. It's not just America, it's Christian Europe, it's Western civilization. And what stands in their way is Israel.
Rabbi Weil adds his charitable organization will raise more money in the new year. This is SRN News. The persecution of Christians around the world increased in 2023, and most experts think it will do so again in the new year. But Jeff King of International Christian Concern says there is a silver lining.
The more they try to strangle the church, all they do is they're sharpening the blade. They create a more potent church that spreads, and that eventually, just like you see in the days of Rome, that eventually hollows out the kingdom and takes it over.
And he's seen this process up close.
One of the strongest churches I've been to nationally is Cuba, and all the decades of oppression and the murder of the pastors, it did nothing but to sharpen the church and to make it such an incredible force for God. That's the hidden story, I think, in all of persecution.
In fact, many embattled Christians in foreign lands tell Americans not to pray for an end to the persecution, but rather that they can remain faithful through it. ICC is just out with its annual persecution report.
Sign back in.
SRN.
Packages start at $29.99 a month with sign agreement. Restrictions apply. Speak to a representative.
Talking to me, Doc?
Yeah. Somebody just texted me and said for you to hang up and sign back in. I don't, it's probably too late. Do it at
It's too late now, yeah.
Do it at halftime, okay?
I'll try. Yeah.
Well, no, I guess, well, you can't because we'll lose the feed.
That's true. We're kind of stuck today, I think.
Oh, shit. I mean, shoot.
Glad we're not out of the area. All right, I'll get to the weather here. You'll hear nothing until I tell you to go.
Okay.
For about $1 a day. Plus, get free professional installation from a licensed technician. Protect your home and loved ones for as low as $1 a day. Call right now for your free home security consultation.
800-698-7191. 800-698-7191. 800-698-7191. That's 800-698-7191.
The following program is sponsored by Bay Area Medical Can Care Clinic.
The latest from AccuWeather at the top and bottom of the hour. Only on AM 860, The Answer.
We'll have plenty of sunshine today with a high of 69, then clear to partly cloudy skies tonight with a low of 51. Dry, cold weather for our New Year's Eve activities. Pleasant day tomorrow, sunshine mixing with some clouds. High for our New Year's Monday, 71. Then partly cloudy with a shower in places tomorrow night, low 53. That's your AccuWeather forecast. I'm Holly Holdren for AM 860, The Answer.
And go, Doc.
Good morning. This is Dr. Bill, your radio MD. I don't know if you can see me on Zoom and Facebook and YouTube and everything, but hopefully you can hear me. And I know you can hear me on the radio. I hear you can. So,
I hear you too, Doc. Actually, I can see you. I'm one of the few people, I guess, who can see you this morning.
I hope I'm handsome as ever.
As ever, buddy. Always. Did you have a nice Christmas?
I had a great Christmas quiet, and we didn't do much. We exchanged a couple of bottles of wine and got drunk and fell down and passed out.
So it was kind of a New Year's Eve.
It was we were warming up.
I see. The big show tonight. Exactly.
The big show, baby. So we're going downtown tonight. We're going to stay at one of the hotels downtown in St. Pete, and we're going to go out to dinner, and we're going to watch the fireworks and walk around like teenagers and see what's going on.
I haven't done that since I was about 20. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
are you going to one of those big parties with a band and champagne and balloons falling at midnight?
Well, we'll be asleep by then, but we're old teenagers, very old teenagers.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
you just want to get the ambiance of the night.
Yeah. We're fops.
Fops?
Yeah, freaking old people.
Oh, okay. I hadn't heard that one yet.
Yeah. So at any rate, let's go ahead and talk about something interesting. I've got a patient, or I just discharged her yesterday. Actually, she came in with heart failure in both right and left heart. So she had high blood pressure in her lungs. She's got a really bad mitral valve that's leaking terribly, and her left atrium is huge. So all the blood is backing up and pushing back into her lungs, and the right side of the heart's not happy. But I started her on Jardiance, the diabetic drug I've talked about before.
Yeah.
Empagliflozin is the name of it. And it's really a fascinating drug. And it was originally meant for diabetes because it is what's called a selective sodium glucose transporter 2 inhibitor. It works in the kidneys by blocking the reabsorption of salt and sugar from the urine that's in the tubules in the kidneys back into the system. So we have a mechanism whereby we excrete sodium, salt, and we excrete sugar, glucose, and then we pull some of it back in depending upon what the body's telling the kidneys to do. And this kind of poisons the pump so that you go ahead and you pee out all that salt and sugar. And you can understand why it would help with diabetes because you're getting rid of sugar, right?
Correct. How does it help with the heart?
Well, one thing it does is it gets rid of salt, which is what holds on to water in the bloodstream. So along with the sugar and the salt goes water. So you drop your blood volume. And if you're in heart failure, one of the problems is a volume overload. So that decreases the volume in your system. We also know that it has some effects on the sympathetic responses that the kidney does. The kidney can tell the body you need to kick out more adrenaline or more noradrenaline. You know what adrenaline is.
Sure, it makes you run fast when somebody's chasing you with a gun.
Yeah,
I'm from Chicago. I know what it's like. Yeah.
Yes.
It actually gives you a taste, kind of an aluminum taste, I think.
Yep. It speeds up your heart and dilates your lungs. It pumps more blood to your muscles and cuts down on blood to your gut. And that's one of the things that adrenaline does. And noradrenaline is another sympathetic hormone that makes your blood vessels constrict so that you get more blood back to your body. So and that's a problem in heart failure. One of the things that we want to do is dilate the blood vessels. So this has an effect on the sympathetic hormones, adrenaline and noradrenaline. And we think it has other effects that we don't know about yet. So we're using it not only for diabetes, but for heart failure, kidney disease. There's even some studies going on as an indication for kidney stones, to prevent kidney stones. It's really a miraculous drug, but this woman got so much better. I mean, she came in the hospital and she could not walk around without dropping her oxygen saturations below 80%, and normal is 92 and above. So she was pretty dusky looking. And when we got her tuned up, she was walking around the hospital without oxygen, holding her saturations in the 97, 98% range, which is probably better than me. And we tucked her onto the airplane yesterday with a nurse from Canada, and the folks were evacuated, if you want to call it, or repatriated back to Canada with just oxygen on board the plane, because the pressure of oxygen drops. You know, they go up, and when they get to about 5,000 feet, they freeze the pressure in the cabin at that level. And so it's like you're up in Denver. And I don't know if you have had any problems when you go up to higher elevations. I certainly have. I go to Denver and I'm short of breath. But
well, very light air. That's why the baseball flies so well in Colorado.
Yeah. And they do have an edge when they're playing at home.
Yes, they do.
Most teams don't practice at 5,000 feet.
A lot less resistance on the ball there. Yeah.
At any rate, this is a really fascinating drug. And I was just shocked at how much she improved. So she dropped her pulmonary artery pressures about 20 points, which is big. And she increased her squeeze of her heart, her ejection fraction, and the left atrium got a little bit smaller, and the mitral regurgitation improved a little bit. So it's a miracle drug, along with other drugs. It's not the only drug that we use, but
expensive drug, or is it easy to get approved for?
Yeah, the insurance companies are getting better and better at allowing us to prescribe these expensive drugs. Now, not all plans, but Jardiance it looks like it's becoming a standard of care. So it seems like the insurance companies are figuring that out, and they're allowing the pharmacy managers to go ahead and dispense it at little or no cost to the patient who has insurance.
That's good.
And you can always get assistance from I think Behringer Mannheim makes it. I can't remember, but I think that's who makes it. But you can Google that. Jardiance, Jardiance,
Now, you said something a couple minutes ago, and I got a question about it, just real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You said that you implied that you can have two types of heart attacks, one on the left, one on the right. You just don't have a heart attack. You have a specific part of the heart that's having a heart attack?
Or heart failure. So you can have heart failure without a heart attack. A heart attack is when the blood vessels to the heart that feed the muscle of the heart get blocked, one or more of them. So you have the right coronary artery, which feeds the right side of the heart, and the back part of the left side of the heart. And then on the left side, you have the main coronary artery, and then you have that branch into the left anterior descending and the circumflex artery, and they take up, or they feed most of the left ventricle, which is the big pumping chamber. The right ventricle is about a third as thick, so it doesn't need as much blood, and it's sensitive to changes in pressures in the lung field because it pumps blood to the lungs. So when the lung fields have a problem, or there's a high blood pressure in the blood vessels going to the lungs, which is an inherited phenomena, the things that cause high blood pressure in the lungs are emphysema, interstitial lung disease, blood clots that go to the lung, asthma, different lung problems are the primary cause of high blood pressure in the lung, but there are a few people that have a congenital situation where they for whatever reasons we don't know, their blood vessels to the lungs constrict. So when you put that pressure back on the right heart can fail because it can't get the blood out of the right ventricle into the lung fields fast enough to keep up with the body's demand for blood, because blood's got red blood cells. Red blood cells have oxygen, and you need that, believe it or not.
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it
if you
depends on what's blocked and where the heart attack started, I guess.
Yeah. So you can have a right-sided heart attack where there is death of tissue or damage to the tissue of the right ventricle. And oddly enough, we treat that differently than we do the left side.
Of course.
So the right side, if you have a heart attack, and we want to get you to the cath lab and get a stent in there, but if we're out in the boondocks and we can't get you there right away, then one thing that we do, which seems counterintuitive, is we give you fluids. We give you normal saline fluids. So we tank you up, and that seems to help keep the heart moving blood through the lungs and out to the periphery. Now, on the left side, that's a whole nother story. That's your big pumping chamber, and that's the one that really can kill you quickly.
That must have been the one that got my uncle. My uncle was playing golf one day with a friend of his and hit his tee shot, and his buddy said, "Nice shot, Rudy." He turned around, looked. Rudy was on the ground. He was dead already in the time it took for his ball to fly from the tee to wherever it landed.
That could be from a blocked artery, a heart attack, or it could be from a rhythm disturbance too. So
they said it was a heart attack. That's all they told us. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what we tell everybody. People,
Okay.
What was it, Doc? It was pneumonia. Oh, it was a heart attack. Because
that's all the family told me.
You try to explain this to people, and they say, "Can you explain this to me?" And so I'll open up images in Google and I'll show them this and that, and say, "You understand that?" No.
All we know is
no,
Rudy's gone.
But thanks for trying.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting, Ken. We when we were young physicians, we did this. I don't do it anymore, but we used to go in and we tell the patient and the family what's going on and give them the whole spiel. Then we go outside and we'd stand out of view and listen. And he didn't tell us anything. What's going on? It's difficult to understand, especially when you're sick. When it's about you, people tend to get a little nervous and they don't remember things as well.
No, I understand that.
And especially if you're yelling at them to quit smoking and drinking and eating, then they get even more upset. So I just tell them, hell, do what you want. It's good.
Live your life. Have a good time. Relax.
Yeah, it's good for my business. Well, I can't stop smoking, Doc. Well, that's all right. Just when you get sick, come and see me.
Old age is overrated.
I don't know, Ken. I'm so happy. I'm getting happier every year. The older I get, the further I get away from adolescence and young adulthood. But I guess I was just a terrible human being back then. Now I'm all better. I used to be different. Now I'm the same.
You're a fine, upstanding young man.
I'm trying my best for God, country, and the Dr. Bill way of life.
The Dr. Bill way of life. I like that.
We're going to have to write a book.
Yeah, absolutely.
So did you hear Elon Musk is schmoozing Giorgia Meloni, the prime minister of Italy? Did you?
Why?
Nobody knows. They seem to be simpatico. They have formed a friendship, and she's normally very reserved and aloof, as you would expect a prime minister to be. But she's hugging him, and they're giving each other kisses on the cheek and meeting. Now, some people think that he's doing it because he wants an in with the European Union because they're giving him a hard time about X, Twitter, and they've given him a hard time about his electric cars. I think he finally worked something out with Germany, and they've got a big plant going there. But if this is true, I mean, maybe he just likes her. Who knows?
My guess has got something to do with market availability. Yeah,
it probably does. But I mean, come on, he's a human being too, and he obviously likes the women.
Has he been married at all ever? I don't know.
I don't know, but I think he
Yeah.
had 8 or 10 kids by several.
All right. Well, he's got the money for it, so
Yeah, I mean, what the hell? Plus, I think there's even some women that have asked for his sperm for in vivo fertilization, and or whatever you call it, in vitro, where they take the sperm and they inject it.
Is he a donor?
Yeah, he's a donor.
Is he selling it?
Well, he wouldn't sell me any, damn it.
Well, gonna help you, Doc.
I wanted to have his baby. I was going to gestate it in a bread box downstairs. I got a bread.
Oh, how nice.
All right.
You
So
got some lights set up, kind of a chicken thing there.
Yeah. You get some heat lamps, and we'll figure out a way to
We'll grow ourselves a little Elon.
Yeah. See if we can grow one. And maybe we can have an electric bread box and grow a Tesla while we're at it.
Well, it's got to be electric, Doc. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what else is going on these days?
So did you hear that this company down in South Africa is the largest producer outside of China of manganese, MangaNese, which is a metal that is used in electric batteries and lithium-ion batteries, and it's to replace cobalt and other rare minerals that are hard to find and hard and expensive to refine. And this is the latest move out of China for the automakers, and they're all going down to South Africa to this little town right outside of the Kruger National Park. And I guess this place is just digging this stuff out of the ground like crazy. And they've got a processing plant there, which apparently makes a really pure manganese that they can use in these car batteries. So they've gotten more non-disclosure agreements this year than in the past 30 years that they've been in business for companies wanting to do business with them. So,
well, that's fine as long as they're not giving it away to the Chinese,
I think that most of it's coming to the United States, some to Western Europe, and the Chinese have pretty much of their own, but it's a big business. It's a big business, especially with all these electric batteries. And we're getting the lion's share of it, but we want more. So I guess
we'll see. We'll see. I'm still not sold on battery cars yet. I think it's kind of like the difference between, say, we went from, the album to the 45 to the cassette tape, the 8-track tape, and CDs. I think we're going to see that with electric cars until we finally get to a fuel cell, which is the holy grail.
Yeah, I think a fuel cell is going to be one way, and we could use hydrogen.
Exactly. Yeah.
For that fuel. But the other thing is, will we ever get to fusion? If we get to fusion energy, then, electric cars may be around longer, but we'll see.
You want a nuclear reactor with that Chevy?
Well, the fusion reactors will be they'll take over for the coal and gas.
Oh, you mean providing the electricity? Yeah.
Yeah, for providing the electricity.
I don't know. I still think the charging times, if they got to get the charging times way down to like 5 minutes, it can't be more than you would spend filling up the tank. People, if you get to 20, 30, 40 minutes, that's a long time if you're trying to get across the country in a week.
Yeah, and they need to be strategically placed, and they need to be working. A lot of them, you go and they don't work.
Yeah.
Because I know we've plugged in at places and nothing happens. So then you come back in an hour and you think, oh, we got enough to get to the next spot.
Nothing. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Until
they can get rid of that, they've got problems.
And you can't push an electric car.
You can't?
No, they lock up. Once you turn them off, they're locked.
All wheels are locked.
Well, I guess I don't know which wheels are locked. I think the front ones, but I don't know.
They must have a way to get it on a tow truck somehow.
So it's a great car as long as it's running.
Yeah. Well, aren't they all?
Now, have you seen the Canadian police chase?
I have not.
You haven't seen that?
No.
It's the middle of winter, and the bad guys are out in front by about 2 or 3 car lengths, and they start slipping on the icy road. And so they jump out to push their car. And so the cops jump out and start pushing their car to chase them. And then that's a Canadian, and you know they're close enough they could just pull out their pistols and shoot, but
Well, yeah, you probably tase them at that point. Yeah,
or walk up to the
yeah.
car and grab
Yeah.
them.
Just wait till they get tired. They're gonna push this thing very far.
Any rate,
Oh,
the manganese requires less electricity and power in the refining process, and it's cheaper to manufacture and bring out of the ground and purify. So that's going to be a big deal for the West, especially if we want to get away from the Chinese. You know, we're dependent on them right now.
it's interesting what Florida is doing. Apparently, they're thinking about putting an expressway in that you will actually be able to charge your car while you're driving.
And that makes sense because you have overhead and underground electric wires. I mean, they have trains that run on electricity, and they're
True.
constantly charging. You know, you go to Europe and they're overhead, and then a lot of areas it's underground. Like in the bullet train in Japan, it was all underground.
So I imagine you just log on, and as soon as you hit the street, you start charging.
Yeah, and you can drop down your little tether and your little umbilical cord, and it'll just be right there with a little electrical conduit and plug it in or whatever you do.
Very similar to the 1960s when we had buses in all the major cities on wires.
Yep.
I can still remember seeing the flashes out my back window at night of the buses going by on Kedzie Avenue.
But you know, you can charge your cell phone without plugging it in. There's a little magnetic pad that you plug in, and then you just lay it right on that, Ken. So they might be able to do something like that too.
I think that when they're talking about the road, they're talking more like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that would make more sense. It would be more efficient.
Less mechanical. Yeah, anything mechanical is going to break sooner or later.
Yeah, sooner or later. So, what can poker teach us about winning in business?
Gee, I don't know. Bet big. Go all in. Bluff.
Well, that's part of it is bluffing and always come from a position of strength. But this is a little factoid I didn't know. Do you know that most professional poker players fold about 80% of the time?
I would think so. Yep.
And they study their opponents that way.
They look for those tells. I'm a big poker player, Doc. Online, anyway. I don't actually gamble. I just play for fun money online. It's tougher. You can't see their faces online, so it's a
you
little
up or
tougher.
down?
Oh, up, way up. By millions of chips.
Why don't you do it for money then?
I've tried it. It doesn't work this. There's something, there's a disconnect somewhere. I haven't figured that out yet. I think I'm just playing really bad people, really bad players online.
You're cracking me up, dude.
But I sit down at the table and it all disappears. I don't understand it.
So we have to be able to take risk if we're going to make it in business, obviously. Yep. And we have to be able to keep a poker face when we're negotiating. And we have to be able to read people, Ken. That's really important. And you got to know when to fold.
That's right. You got to say that's enough.
I mean, yeah, you got to say, look, I'm not getting anywhere here.
You start throwing good money after bad. So at some point you change direction.
And, and you interview and you say, this isn't for me, or you have an interviewee and you say, they're not for us. And it's important to put the lessons of gamemanship into everything we do. All relationships are basically the same. Some are more intimate and some are more business. But if you have some basic rules of interaction with people and intercourse, then you can really have a successful life in terms of interpersonal relationships, whether it's in the boardroom or in the bedroom, so to speak, if you understand me.
Well, I try to live by the golden rule. There you go. That'll help.
What's that? Get
the golden rule?
Get them before they get you?
No, just wait a minute. Just the opposite.
Oh, just the opposite. Okay.
Yeah. It's really got nothing to do with gold.
No, it has to. Well, then why do they call it the golden rule?
I don't know.
Listen, I want this changed. Get the old English dictionary to fix that.
Well, I'll do to you as you do to me. So
there you go. Do unto others.
Or something like do unto others as you would have them do unto you, or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
And make sure you get the money up front.
Get the money up front. Make sure the check clears. That's
Yeah.
right.
Before you do unto them. Because you may want to change. So did you see what Nikki Haley got herself into out there?
I've been hearing bits and pieces of it, but I haven't heard the whole story. What did she actually say?
She was out in Iowa, Dubuque, and she was campaigning, and somebody asked her what the cause of the Civil War was, and she said, well, it was the government denying people freedom, and this kind of nebulous around the block. And the guy was trying to get her to say slavery, which of course for the Northeast was why they went to war in the Civil War. The Northeast wanted to end slavery. They had been wanting to end it since the Republic was formed in the 1780s and 90s. And the Midwest, of course, wanted to hold the Union together, and there was pro and anti-slavery sentiment there. And so the different parts of the country had different reasons for going to war against the South and bringing the bad boys back into the fold. I guess we're back in.
I think so. We're so far.
I mean, everybody wants to come down here now, so I figure we must be doing something right.
Well, yeah, we got sunshine. You're always going to have a good crowd.
But you got to remember that there was more to the Civil War than slavery. There were tariffs because in 1828-29 Congress passed a bill raising import tariffs, and the South was how we made money, how we brought foreign money into the country, because that was the largest exporting part of the country. We didn't have the industrial might that we have now or in the 20th century. So
just bale that cotton and get it across the sea.
Yeah, cotton, tobacco, hard red winter wheat. And that's how Washington made a lot of money. He got out of tobacco and cotton. He said, the market's flooded, it's no good. He was a smart guy. And so he started growing wheat. And a pound of the flour would get you a pound of the same poundage in gold. Can you believe that?
Well, that's
valuable.
a good deal. That's a good deal, yeah.
And so he did really well, and he even designed and built this thrashing floor that was pretty cool. And you can see it if you ever go to Mount Vernon. It's a 2-story, and the lower story is where the grain falls, and the upper story is like slats in a spoke-like radius, and it's got a tether for a horse to walk around. And so they bring the wheat up there, and they drag the thrasher across that, and it would thrash out the grain, and the grain would fall down below, and then the slaves or the servants or whoever would come in and rake out the straw, and of course you could recycle that for feed or for
make flour, whatever you want to do there.
Yeah. And so he did really well. He designed it himself. Smart guy, and then he had his own mill, and he actually they were big stones back then that were close together, and they had holes drilled in them for the grain to fall through, and then it would go round and round, and it would crush the seeds into flour. And you work that with water power, so you had a water mill, and you'd have that drive your equipment, and he re-engineered it so it was more efficient. Smart guy.
Bag it and sell it? You think he
got rich?
Did he did sell it in bags? I think it was like George's wheat or something. George's flour.
Not George the Third.
That's true. You want to like GW. Trust GW flour.
Got to differentiate there.
That's right. GW flour for the best tasting pies.
So I diverged there. I got off topic. So the South said, are you crazy? You're going to put this big import tariff on everything coming from Europe. They're going to do the same to us. We won't be able to sell our goods. It's already competitive enough out there. And so they threatened to leave in the late 1820s. And that's when Andy Jackson told Calhoun, the South Carolina senator, I'll come down there and hang the first son of a bitch myself that's what he said, who tries to secede. But then he went back to Congress. He said, you got to lower this tariff or we're going to have a civil war here. So that was part of it. And of course, slavery was the main part for most people. But it was states' rights, it was tariffs, it was banking. Was the Bank of New Orleans or the Bank of New York going to control the country? And so there were many facets to it. But of course, the main one was slavery, and that's what everybody wants to talk about. Nikki Haley wouldn't say that. I mean, she could have said that and a lot of other things, but maybe she doesn't know the history. I don't know.
Nah, she was trying to talk around it. She was just trying to talk around it, I'm sure.
Well,
hey, Doc, look at the time. Oh, my goodness.
What time is it?
9:33.
9:33. Well,
yes.
Stop. Oh, listen, you got to send me the woman who won last week. You didn't send me her number and address. So send that today when you send today's winner.
That was Diane Woodrow from Bradenton. Yes, we will send that out to you today.
And Diane, we haven't forgotten about you, baby. We're here for it.
That's right. Today's question. If you've been listening to the show from the beginning, you know the answer. And if you know the answer, be the first caller at 877-969-8600, and you will win two Dr. Bill, your Radio MD coffee mugs. Again, that number is 877-969-8600. Today is New Year's Eve. Headed now 2024 tomorrow. What is Doc doing for New Year's Eve? He told you all at the top of the show, 877-969-8600. First person with the correct answer will win. Dial now. Ain't that right, Doc?
You got it, buddy. And you can always see me in person at Bay Area Medical Can Care Clinic, 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. I've got people coming in just to meet me. I want to be in your practice, and I don't know if my insurance works, but mostly I just want to meet you. Come on in and meet me. I'll give you a mug.
There you go. Worth a stop just for the mug. These are great mugs.
6399 38th Avenue North, St. Pete.
All right, we'll see you in a minute, Doc.
We'll be back. I'm Dr. Bill, your Radio MD.
Here's the latest from the Answer News Center.
With SRN News, I'm Michael Harrington in Washington. It is 2024. Happy New Year. Well, not here, but in certain parts of the world, it sure is. Auckland, New Zealand, the first major city to ring in the new year this morning with a fireworks display from the massive Sky Tower downtown. This year's New Year's Eve celebrations will feature tight security in a lot of places. A few major cities have canceled gatherings altogether for fear of what might happen. In Russia, the country's military actions in Ukraine have overshadowed celebrations, with the usual fireworks and concert on Moscow's Red Square canceled as it was last year. The U.S. military shot down 2 anti-ship ballistic missiles fired toward a container ship by Yemen's Houthi rebels in the Red Sea. That was shortly after 4 boats tried to attack the same ship but were driven off by U.S. warships. This is SRN News.
860 The Answer. Listen on our website, theanswertampa.com, 93.7 FM, W229DJ Denny, by downloading the Answer Tampa app or on TuneIn or Odyssey.
Dr. Bill for Bay Area Medical, located at 6399 38th Avenue North in St. Pete, 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. Full service clinic with x-ray, heart imaging, ultrasound, stress testing, and minor surgery. We provide quality health care in a warm and friendly atmosphere. We are multilingual, well-trained, and certified. Most American insurance and new patients accepted. Bay Area Medical, home of Can Care, 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. Dr. Bill here. With social distancing and sheltering in place, telemedicine is here. Bay Area Medical, home of Can Care Clinic, offers telemedicine for new and established patients. You can see me without an in-office visit. Schedule an appointment at 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. When it's time for your appointment, type this web address into your cell phone or computer web browser, doxy.me/Bay Area Med. A cell phone works well and is all you really need. For computers, you need a web camera and speakers. We'll give you this address when you call for your appointment. We accept most insurances and travel insurances. Canadians and visitors, please call your travel insurance company for an authorization number prior to the visit. Copays and deductibles apply. Self-pay rates are available. Just ask. We accept credit cards, PayPal, and Stripe. 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. Dr. Bill here. My friends at St. Pete MRI and Sleep Diagnostics are your best choice for state-of-the-art MRI, CT, and sleep studies. Quality unsurpassed. 25 years experience makes St. Pete MRI.
You there, Doc?
Conveniently accessible from both sides of the bay at 750 94th Avenue North, St. Pete, near the Gandy. 727-577-2220, 727-577-2220.
Don't miss the clash between the Wisconsin Badgers and LSU Tigers. New Year's Day at Raymond James Stadium. For tickets, visit Ticketmaster.com.
See you again, Doc.
A high of 69.
Can you hear
then
me?
clear to partly cloudy
I can hear you
skies
too.
tonight with a low of
All
51.
right.
Dry, cold weather for our New Year's Eve activities. Pleasant day tomorrow, sunshine mixing with some clouds. High for our New Year's Monday, 71. Then partly cloudy with a shower in places tomorrow.
I lost you. Ken?
Go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, I lost you. Are you back?
I'm
Ken?
here. There I am.
Okay. All right. Are we on?
We are, sir.
All right, we're back. This is Dr. Bill. I got Ken by my side. We're doing a radio show. Did I hear him say it's going to be 51 tonight?
I think that sounds right. Yep.
Dang, I'm going to have to take a warm jacket downtown.
You got a sweater? Put a sweater on. This makes.
Yeah, we'll put on a sweater and snuggle up and drink some wine, warm up, get toasty.
Yeah, another cool week coming up. I'm looking at the forecast here. We'll be in the 40s again overnight or most of the week.
Speaking of the weather, so there's this company, and this guy has an artificial intelligence machine, and his machine has been programmed to predict whether or not climate change is going to hurt different things like the wine growing industry. And his AI computer said that by 2050 we could no longer have champagne.
You're kidding.
No, because the nights are warming up, and apparently you have to have a cool night during the growing season so that it doesn't ripen too fast, the grapes, and because that affects the taste and the acidity and different factors that go into the fermenting process and the taste process. So,
well, the French must be beside themselves right now.
Yeah, because they produce a lot of the. In the United States, we produce a lot of champagne in California, but for the rest of the world, French champagne's the big deal, and that's billions of dollars worth of business there. So,
I wonder if the growing season just move further north.
Well, that's what'll happen, and that'll change the economies of these countries and the regions. Because if you go down the Rhone Valley in France, we drove down there. I mean, it's really beautiful. It's all vineyards. It's all vineyards. Once you get, you get 100 miles, 200 miles outside of Paris, and you start getting into the hilly regions, and then you're in vineyard country. It's a big industry for them. And when you get south of Lyon, it's all vineyards. I mean, you just look up on the side of the hill. You're driving down the river road, and there's vineyards everywhere. Little vineyards, big vineyards, all kinds of vineyards. And apparently,
I bet some great wine tasting places around there, though.
Yeah, we did a wine tasting. I don't think the woman wanted us there. She was trying to sell some restaurateur, and I think we were just in her way. And she kind of snarled at me, but I guess because we were tourists, she let us in. But,
all right. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I hate to see the champagne disappear.
Yeah, and there's only one region in France that grows this, and I think it provides most of the non-American champagne.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, you have to live there. You can't name your product champagne unless you live in that area. It's a law.
Yeah, well, yeah, but the French have very strict laws on the appellation, the naming of their wines, and Grand Cru class and this and that. I mean, they have Cabernet Sauvignon is very specific, and Burgundy is very specific, and you have to have certain grapes, and you have to meet certain tests. It has to be from a certain region, so it is a big deal for them.
They take it very seriously. Yep.
Well, it's good money
and a fun night after you're done.
So what's up with the governor of Ohio, the Republican governor? Is he morphing into a rhino or what?
You're ahead of me on this one. I don't know. What did he say? What did he do?
Well, the legislature passed a bill banning the funding of and the operating on kids for gender change,
Ah, okay.
and he vetoed it.
He did.
Yeah, he said that he sat down with some of these parents and they were in tears because it was life-saving for their kids. Their kids were suicidal and this was the only thing that worked for them. I'm thinking, damn, in my day we had medication and we got shock therapy. We got locked up and we got better though. So I don't know why he chose that avenue, and I guess he thinks it's going to be politically popular for him, but I don't see how. I mean,
Could he possibly be looking at a presidential run 4 years from now?
he could never make it. I mean, he's such a weird looking dude to begin with. He could never make it. You got to have in this day and age with all the ability to immediately flash your face and everything you say and do onto media. I would think that, and I think that Ron DeSantis is a good example of that, Ken. He just does not have the stage personality that the other candidates have, including.
You've got to know how to work a room. Yes.
Like Nikki Haley. I mean, she's very, very engaging and interactive, and she knows how to present herself before the camera. Of course, she made a big guffaw here, and she'll probably lose some ground. But
that'll happen when you put yourself out there. Sooner or later, you'll make a mistake.
Well, I think the thing to do is not to be too politically correct, and that's why
call slavery slavery. Yeah,
that's why Trump's so popular, because he just tells it like it is. He doesn't.
Right.
He doesn't sugarcoat it, and I like that. And I like that about a politician when they don't sugarcoat it. Harry Truman was like that.
Straight talk, exactly.
Yeah, Teddy Roosevelt was like that. Andy Jackson was like that. He just told you what he thought. If he didn't like it, he let you know.
That's right. Grant was like that. These guys just let you have it.
Yeah, they just blasted out there,
and they were successful.
I guess it's a different style, but the Bushes were very engaging on stage, but they were very tactful too. They did not have that personality that Trump and Andy Jackson and Teddy Roosevelt have. Or had.
Ronnie was probably the best of them all. The modern presidents.
He was smooth.
Yes, he was.
But
you would expect that of an actor. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he'd been in acting all of his life, and until he got into politics. I think in the late 40s, early 50s is when he started getting involved in politics, and he was the president of the Screen Actors Guild, or one of the big unions.
Yeah, I think it was Screen Actors, yeah.
And that's where he cut his teeth, and he could also practice his shtick for when he wanted to run for office, and it worked.
But he blended a message that people liked with a lot of humor and folksiness, and it was wonderful. You just loved the guy. He was everybody's grandpa,
Yeah, I mean, he was a really good stage man, and he got his message across, and he had practiced his message for so many decades that even when he was getting demented, he still said the same message.
Didn't he come up with that? What's the worst phrase and the most feared phrase in America is, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help you," or something like that. the most feared 7 words in the English language, I think he said they were. "I'm from the government and I'm here to help."
And what was it he said? The closest thing to immortality on earth is being a government worker.
That's right.
They'll never get rid of you. You're there forever.
He was great for a phrase. I mean, Gorbachev, tear down this wall, was as powerful as anything.
And remember when he fired all the
air traffic controllers. Yeah. I actually
would do it.
I considered going into that. At that time, I was 20 years old, and I actually considered not doing radio and becoming an air traffic controller.
It's amazing to me that they didn't believe him. I mean, they were shocked.
They were.
He just said, "Get out," and that was it. I guess they brought in military air traffic controllers until they could rehire people, but
But on first glance, what are you doing, Ronnie? Or all the planes are going to crash. No. We'll take care of it. Nothing
Yes.
crashed. Nothing happened except those guys lost their jobs.
And yeah, it was like when the computers were going to turn to the year 2000, everybody thought there'd be a meltdown.
Right, exactly.
So I didn't notice anything. Did you?
Not a thing. Not a thing happened. Not a thing. And but I did appreciate what China did at that moment. They had a guy in charge of making sure that everything in the air was going to be fine when the change happened. And at the last minute, he was ordered to get on a plane and get in the air, just in case it didn't go well. They wanted him, I guess, to fall out of the sky with the rest of the victims.
Well, if you screw up in that system,
that was your penalty.
That was your penalty.
You say it's all working fine? Get on board this aircraft, sir, and enjoy the ride, or
have
fall,
fun, son.
or whatever happens. Yeah.
So now, speaking of China, all the internet giants in China are struggling, and the big sale company Alibaba. You know who that is?
I've heard of it. Yeah, it's like their biggest telecommunications.
Well, they sell wholesale, and then they have a retail side to it too, and they have a retail side to it in China. But I bought a lot of stuff from Alibaba before Trump. That damn Trump, he screwed up everything for me. Before he raised the tariffs on the Chinese because it was so cheap. You know, I needed a ton of urea for my toenail gel. By the way, it's still sitting there, and. So if anybody wants to take it and turn it into ammonia and ammonium nitrate, then they could have some fun if they want to blow something up.
I was going to say that sounds a little explosive.
So at any rate, I called all over the place in the United States and Canada trying to find urea at a good price. Well, they all bought it from China anyway. All the wholesalers in the United States and Canada, they buy the chemicals, most of them in bulk from China. I said, well, the hell with that. And so I just went directly to the manufacturer in China and set up an account and got a deal and had it shipped. It was much cheaper than buying it here. Now, not so much because of the tariffs. It's kind of evened out, which is good. I mean, it's good for our economy, but not for Dr. Bill's economy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So Alibaba is the company that is the kind of like the Amazon of the wholesale for all of the Chinese goods. So you can go on to Alibaba and you can Google, I need 2,000 widgets that are pink and purple, and it'll pop up and there'll be, 10 or 20 companies that are competing, and they have ratings. So they've got ratings for how happy the customers are and how quickly they get the goods to you and how reliable they are and how long they've been on the platform there. And that company has lost about 70% of its value over the past 3 years.
Ouch.
And that's just one of several. The Chinese are struggling. They're going to have a hard time coming back from this, especially as the United States and the Western Europeans pull out. And we don't want to buy their goods anymore because they're being such yahoos,
Yeah, that's right.
And you want to threaten everybody in the neighborhood and ram your ships into Filipino ships and act like it was an accident and build your own islands in the South China Sea because you think it's yours. Well, guess what? The neighbors aren't going to be happy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like an inter neighborhood warfare because you're trying to move your fence into somebody else's yard or claim the common area as yours. And that doesn't work too well. Human beings don't like that. They do not like that. What was it Robert Frost said? Good fences make good neighbors.
That's correct.
And that's why I have put a fence all the way around my townhouse.
500 feet tall. You should see it. It's great.
It's great. You can't even get in here except for Amazon and UPS.
They have to throw it over the wall.
So the NASDAQ Golden Dragon, which is the American exchange for their tech industry, has dropped from, I don't know, $25 down to, it's ridiculous how far it's fallen. It's fallen by about 40% over the past couple of years. That's a lot of scratch if you've
Yeah.
got your money in that spider fund. I mean, you've lost a lot.
What's their unemployment over there? It's got to be high.
Oh, it's got to be. I'm sure it's 20% now, especially with the younger people, because where are you going to get a job? I mean, if there's nothing going on, if the economy is slowing down, and you got all these young people coming out of school, where are they going to go? And of course, since there's unemployment, there's no money for consumer goods, so the consumer sales are falling at home as well as the sales around the world.
But meanwhile, places like Hong Kong and Singapore are probably doing very well. I
Hong
imagine the
Kong,
money is still coming in.
Singapore is unbelievable. Now, Hong Kong's starting to struggle a little bit. They're losing some business because of the crackdown on businesses by the central government in Beijing. Now, like I told you, the taxi driver that we were talking to said he didn't notice any difference when they sent a provincial governor from Beijing. He said we're still under English common law and the economy's still running, and he's still getting hack fares. So, but if you're a big business, then they're going to start looking at you, and once they start looking at you, then they want their cut. And they want to get their thumb on you and control your industry. And we've seen that happen with big companies in China.
Any chance of a civil war, you think, in China in the next 50 years or so?
Well, they've had civil wars off and on for a couple of thousand years. And the one province out in the West, they don't even consider themselves related to the southeastern provinces. It's like, like I said to one of the saleswomen I was talking to, I said, well, what do you think about the democracy riots in Hong Kong? She says, that's 1,000 miles away. We don't care.
They're not really united in spirit and mind.
They're getting there because of the travel. They're traveling all over the place now. They got the bullet trains going here and there, and airplane flights are cheap, dirt cheap. I mean, you get into China and you want to fly from Beijing to Xi'an, and you're talking 30, 40, $50 at least.
Wow. They must be heavily subsidized, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everything is. It's a communist,
right.
It's a socio-fascist country, which is what the Democrats want here. They want a one-party state with a strong man atop, hopefully one that's not demented. And
if I can get to LA for $30, maybe I can go along with it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's going to get that low, but I don't know. Do they make $30 bills anymore?
Did they ever?
No, I don't think they did.
I don't think we ever had a $30 bill. No.
So we're going to have to use change, I guess. Now, did you see where the Florida legislature is trying to pass a bill that says that businesses must accept cash? They cannot refuse cash.
That's a good idea. I like that.
What if you don't want cash? What if you want credit cards?
What if you don't have a credit card? You can't shop?
Well, you can go down to the local bodega. I mean, if you don't have a credit card, you don't need anything other than food and booze, right? And that the grocery stores are going to continue to take cash. They're not going to go just credit cards. But why?
Okay, so you're walking down the beach, okay? You've been spending all day. You're at your limit. You walk into another store. All you got is cash. He's going to say go away because you got cash?
I tell you what, if you come into my office and if you have cash, you want to pay cash, you can do it, but in the back room under the table.
We got 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, Doc. So pick your subject.
Oh, my God. So
pick your subject.
You think the Republicans are going to take back the Senate?
The Senate? I don't know how many Democrats are up. I haven't even looked at the Senate yet. The House could go either way again, I think.
Yeah.
So many people are retiring in the House on both sides. And it could go either way.
And did you see where the abortions right advocates have changed their message now? And did you see the ad that Planned Parenthood has out there? It's humane and caring, and they treated me like a human being, and I got the best care. And this is about freedom and kindness, and Go figure. But they know how to market it, buddy boy.
Absolutely. Everybody's marketing everybody's spinning everything now, Doc. There's nothing you see that's not been spun somehow, some way by somebody.
But you could develop a message for pro-life that would be really impactful. I mean, I can do it. I do it when I talk to people, and as you know, I've talked about it on the show, and it's pretty effective. But they seem to want to talk about religion and the religious aspect of it. I don't think God has anything to do with it. I think that life longs for itself. And that's just innate in the Boson particles or whatever that makes up all of our existence, whether we're a star or a comet or a tree or a human or a monkey. We're all made of the same stuff, and we all want to do the same thing, and that's live as long as we can. So most of us.
Yeah. Depends on how your health is. I mean, it all depends on that.
Yeah, and this idea that, we own our bodies. We do not. We're herd animals. We belong to each other, for God's sakes, Ken. We need each other. We interact with each other. If there's a major war, the guys don't have a choice. They're going.
That's right.
And that's just the way it is. I mean, that's the way herd animals work. They work together.
22 seconds, Doc. 22 seconds you got.
I'm Dr. Bill. We're at 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411 in office, or you can see me with DoxyMe, and we do have telemedicine. And if you don't know how to use your computer, we'll do it by phone.
All right, Doc. Say goodbye.
Say goodbye, Doc. See you later, Ken. Good job, buddy.
For more insight, information, provocation, and fun, Dr. Bill Handelman practices in St. Petersburg, Florida at Bay Area Medical Care Clinic, 6399 38th Avenue North. For your convenience, telemedicine appointments are available. Call his office today at 727-384-6411. That's 727-384-6411. Or visit his website at cancareclinic.com.